Alright, so we're back here. So I was planning on taking a decent break to make food and eat and relax after just spending the time from 4 in the morning till pretty much 11 here working on mods. But I decided it's going to take probably half an hour for my chicken to slow cook. So might as well work on things. So what we're going to go ahead and do is set up everything for 110. Now I've already went ahead and set up the folder after all. I've kind of tried to make this recording like 3 times now. Even when you do these live recordings, you don't always get them right. And sometimes you have to kind of scrap things. But yeah, so we're pretty much waiting on this to build up. I'm just now realizing I probably should have waited until after it was done to start everything up. But you guys get to see the some of the slow sides of doing mod development. So I'm on a pretty decent computer, and it still takes a while for workspaces to build. And this is just a workspace making itself, not even the build files. The build files can sometimes take all the way up to 15 minutes to compile locally, and the build servers are not much faster. And some of the build servers are sitting on Xenons. It's just one of the downsides of mod development is just things are not going to run fast. So we're at 75% right now, and I think this thing's been running for 4 minutes now is what it's been doing. I didn't exactly time it. I actually probably should one day just go ahead and time all the dmod scripts. That way I can give them a reference point to work towards. Because in theory what I want to happen is I want these scripts to run in under a minute. I don't think it's possible, but I mean, you always have goals and dreams. The reality of it is it doesn't really make sense why this does take as long as it does sometimes. I mean, I guess it does have to read a whole bunch of class files, decompile them, apply things to that, but the thing is, this front half runs really fast, and then you hit down the lower parts here, and it takes a lot longer for some reason. I guess we do have recompile MC, but it says, you notice how it says skipped on these. I'm guessing it's already finished these parts, and doesn't have to run any of them, but then it still does take a while to realize it needs to do that. But then again, I'm not quite sure what's going on. I should hunt down a Brar, but I think kind of a Brar may have retired from all this. So I have to see who I can talk to and actually ask why it is that this does run as slow as it does. Because I would ask Dmod, but the reality is Dmod's still pretty much of a novice at Gradle. I mean, he's above the bottom line. Oh, yes, it took 4 minutes for that to run, by the way, in case you didn't catch that. But yeah, Dmod is not an expert at this, even though he is the guy who does work on the Gradle scripts. And without him, we probably wouldn't be able to build half the stuff we do, because I don't want to learn another programming language. That's what Gradle pretty much is. It's a coding language, or rather a scripting language is what the proper term is for it. And yeah, I've learned so many languages now. I've lost track at this point. I know the last few I learned were AI-driven languages, which were actually pretty fun to learn, to be honest. They were kind of cool to see a different perspective. Trying to remember the name of the last language, though. I knew it was data-driven. So rather than doing what you do with like some language like Java, where you pass a lot of data into methods, and those methods manipulate the data and do various things, this did not modify the original data, and it always returned a different version of the data rather than continuing passing the data back and forth. And then your data had to be pre-compiled and a whole bunch of other things. It's trying to think of what the language is called. Anyways, we got this loaded up, so we're in 110. And let's see what breaks. I have yet to see an error, so that's good. Let's say rebuild, because if you open up the main mod class and there's no errors, then that's about the only option is to hit rebuild. Usually the likelihood is there probably might not be any. Oh, this is going to be so cool if I can just run this. I won't have to do any work. You know what actually might be happening too is I may have just screwed up on the workspace setup. I can't get this lucky, because my luck is not this good. It's 110. I haven't had to change any codes, so yay. Watch my render completely break. Actually, you know what? I could have swear that the fluid registry changed in 110, but I guess they didn't do anything between 1.9 and 110. Then it means it's probably gone in 1.11 then. So 1.11 is when I'm going to have to update it, and that's where we're going to have a lot of fun, because I use fun sarcastically, by the way. But yeah, it's going to have to redesign how the buckets work. Because I'm pretty sure that method is gone. I know it's gone in 112 for sure, but I haven't been keeping track of which versions lose what things, and asking for help on the Forge channel has not been very good. There's only like 1 or 2 guys really doing anything. If you've seen from my last video, Gigahertz is the only guy that's actually doing stuff, and I give him props for that, of him sitting around there and helping people. I used to do that all the time. I actually used to sit around the Minecraft Forge channel just like him and help people, but it got tiresome. You spent most of your time doing that. Plus, I wasn't very helpful. Unless you were trying to do something like very specific, like machines and stuff, I couldn't really help. Okay, Forge filled bucket's missing. Oh, that's because we're not running in dev mode. I've got it set up so that the buckets only render in dev mode. So that's okay. So we got our iron bucket. All of our buckets work. I'm flabbergasted. You don't, as a mod developer, you pretty much start to learn that every time you update to a new version, expect it to fail. Expect to have 1,000 errors or something, and nothing is a good way to put this. This means quite literally you can take the 1.9 version and probably run it on 1.10, although it's going to need to recompile. So what I'm just going to do is just make a new branch, because I'm going to need a branch no matter what. And I don't know, just update it, I guess. There's not a lot you really have to do. So I'm like stunned that this is working so easily. Anyways, set MC version to 1.10.2. Hit commit. Hit push. Submit. It's updated. Yeah, that shouldn't have been that easy. So let's, right before we do go up to the next version, I'm just going to really quickly take a look at this guy. So, deprecated C capabilities item fluid container. Fluid handler item stack. So, here's the really big problem. I actually have no clue how to use the capability system. So we're going to have an interesting time. So theoretically, for capabilities, implementing the capability of iFluid handler, C iFluid item wrapper. So you put iCapability provider on your system, and then I'm assuming you just add a capability. I know there's an annotation system for this, but let's go ahead and implement this. I have no way to test this though, so just as a heads up, we're just going to throw this on here. And there's really nothing I understand how to do with this. Theoretically, what you want to do is you want to go, if capability equals fluid container should be a capability for this. So it's net Minecraft fluids capabilities. So we want to go down here, net Minecraft Forge fluids and capability. There should be, yeah, capability fluid handler, and then you want this thing. That much I do know because I have set up recipes already for this. So this is what I want. Do I return capability here? My same numbers have been calling me all day. I'd say it's important, but I literally don't know. Do I just return this? How does this work? One big thing I'm noticing though is, you notice how this has a T on it right here? So in 1.6, me and Cal Claudia came up with a system very similar to capabilities. We actually, I think, made it even 1.5.2 is when we started working on it. There is an issue with doing this, and I actually flat out just don't know how to do this. Oh, that's useful. Super die get capability. Capability item handler capability. Item handler capability. What is an item handler capability? Capability I store it. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is an inventory capability, I'm pretty sure. Get capability. Okay, so item handler capability. Double chest handler equals null. Double chest needs refreshed. Double chest equals vanilla, etc. Return double chest handler. Okay. So you want to make a new instance, maybe? Vanilla double chest item handler. So maybe you know that call that's been calling me? Health insurance. I wonder if people ever learn that if you have health insurance, the likelihood of you leaving health insurance is 0. So okay, so there's a way to do this. Actually, hold on. We've been thinking this like the whole wrong way. So there's a wrapper for this. There we go. There's the code, exactly the code we want right there. So we just go back to our item bucket and pop this on here. And then we need to pass this in, and why can't I cast it? Why do you not work? What is this? This is a fluid container item wrapper. Has capability. Why can't I? Okay, I'm confused now. Okay, maybe this isn't what we need. Maybe just return a new instance of this. That's an iCapability provider. Yeah, I think it's how it kind of works. Is you provide simple fluid container to replace the functionality of fluid container registry and iFluid container. This fluid container may be set that it's only completely filled or empty. You know what I think? Oh yeah, there's actually some stuff in here. So empty fluid handler. Fluid handler item stack. I think it's what we were just in it, wasn't it? Right. Yeah, I don't really understand how this stuff works. It isn't really getting any better either. So there's some wrappers. So there's a fluid tank property. Not sure what that does. I know there's some kind of annotation system that you could use with the capabilities, but I'm not sure how it works. Here's the capability system. Okay, so there's iCapability inject. Capability interface to listen for registration. When reading annotations, do not call this function. It will cause a hard dependency in the class. So there's a capability manager. So there's some kind of injection system. I think it'll explain maybe up here how it works. When placed on a field, the field will be set to an instance of a capability once the capability is registered. That field must be static and be able to hold an instance of capability. When placed on a method, the method will be invoked once the capability is registered to allow you to enable feature callbacks. It must provide one parameter of type capability. cool. I want to see an example of this used though. Ah, so it actually does have a function. It looks like it's only used for this though, so that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, this needs better. You know what? Actually, I'm thinking of. I just completely forgot about this. One of the things that the documentation on Forge actually does have is an explanation of the capability system, I think. There's a conversion. That's not it. Or it's conventions. Data storage capabilities. Here we go. So it has capability. It'd be worked in order to exposing capabilities. So you want to pass back something called inventory. But what is inventory? Okay, exposing. In order to expose a capability, you will find an instance of an underlying capability type. Note that you should assign a separate instance to each object to keep the capability, since the capability will most probably be tied to the containing object. There are two ways to obtain such objects: through the capability itself or by explicitly instantiating an implementation of it. The first method is designed to use a default implementation if those default values are useful for you. In the case of an item handler capability, the default implementation will expose a single slot inventory, which is most probably not what you want. The second method can be used to provide a custom implementation. In the case of item handler, yeah, I'm not going to read this entire thing, but I think I understand what's going on. The method of attaching capabilities to an entity and item stack can be done by attach capability event. This same event is used for all objects and can provide capability for generic, creating your own capabilities, synchronizing data with clients. Yeah, this whole system is confusing. I kind of find it cool because it's going to allow for a lot more flexibility. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It also allows you to, I think, mess with people's tiles and add capabilities to them when they didn't originally have them. I'm not exactly sure on that. Because the reality of it is even though I've made systems like the capability system, I haven't used Forge's versions. So, you know, I have a feeling I could just do this. So let's do this. And I'm breaking convention by putting it down here, but I don't really care, to be honest. And we don't want that. We want... What do we want? We want fluid handler. Oh, the old version is deprecated. That's cool. That means I'm going to have to spend a lot more time on this. So I think, I legitimately think I can just do this. Get capability. I think I just have to maybe do that. So casting to net capability cannot be applied to net capability. Is there like a get method? Default instance? Maybe that's what I want? I think that's what I'm looking for, but the reality of it is that this stuff is not documented very well. So there are some templates. So there's a tank property, some wrappers. Block liquid wrapper, fluid container item wrapper. So this is, I guess, what I kind of want. Converts an old to a... Yeah, this is an example of where I really need some more research. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to scrap this real quick, because the last thing I want to do is release code that has a bug in it, and we're just going to leave the old version here, because theoretically it should wrapper my item for me automatically in this version. It's just the next version is not going to probably do that, so we're good. But as long as this works for 110, we just move on. So I'm going to go ahead and close this workspace. And what we got to do is we just got to rinse and repeat making a new workspace. So we want to grab this And I'll grab wooden buckets here in a bit, but I just want to go ahead and shoot straight for 112. And the reality of it is I shouldn't have to mess with wooden buckets throughout all the versions because it should be identical. Like, nothing really should change between versions. Let's get rid of this stuff, get rid of that. And then we want to go Gradle Properties, and we want to set this to 111, I believe. And this is where, of course, I'm going to have to pop this back open and then go check to see if the script folder is the correct folder. So, 111.2 apparently. Why is it also .2? Like a consistency problem there, I feel like. So that's good. So at least it gets targeted in the right repository. That way when we run this guy, it'll do the right thing. Before I do that though, I want to go ahead and synchronize. And did I close this or did this crash? I don't remember closing Gitkraken. I might have though. Oh sweet, my videos are uploaded. I always wait for those things to upload. They take forever. Okay, so we just want to go ahead and make a new branch. 111. We're getting there. After this version, straight to 112, and then I'm done for the day. Set NC version to 1.11.2. Commit. Push. My phone is spamming itself. And I touch it and it instantly disconnects from my computer. I gotta get better cords. I was hoping to get a new phone here because the thing is the power jack on my phone is damaged, but I was told, yeah, I don't have the money. I know I don't, but it's really suckish to still be told that you can't afford a new phone. But I'll make do. So 111 and run the dev script. I'd say I actually probably have enough money through Curse because I get $2 a day from Wooden Shears mod pretty much. It's not exactly that, but it's really close, which means I could pay for the lease on a new phone, which is $30 a month. It's a lot of money just to like lease a phone. You know what I mean? I actually think it's a lease to own now. The current phones I have were rent based, so I paid I think $5 a month for this phone. I own it now, surprisingly, because they don't really want it back. Well, actually, if I get a new phone, they want it back. But if I hold on to it for another year, I can pretty much have it. But it's a Galaxy S5, so I kind of don't really want to hold on to it. But then again, I'm kind of happy I don't have a flip phone because I used to have a flip phone, and I don't want to go back to that because you can't do anything on a flip phone. You can make phone calls, and the reality of it is, people don't make phone calls anymore. I actually kind of find that sad, but at the same time, I don't really like calling people on the phone, so I'm happy about that. You would think with as much time I spend on TeamSpeak and other voice chat systems, I would be perfectly fine with phone calls, but I never got to like them, no matter what. Even as a kid, I never liked talking on the phone. And that was back when I still got I still had rotary phones. That was the weirdest thing ever, because like the first phone I ever used was a push button, I think it's like a piezo something phone. So you did push buttons to dial it. And then I went to my grandma's house and she still had a dial-a-phone, and I could not figure out how to use it the first time I went to go use this. And this was when I think I was like 7 or something. That was a very interesting experience of having to figure out how you did that. And you have to stick your finger in the hole, and then you have to like pull it all the way around and then release it. It'll go back to that spot, and that's how it dials. Really interesting, to say the least. I kind of want to I want to add that kind of complexity or something to a video game, because I don't think a single user will figure out how to use it. That if I had to force you to literally put your cursor over the spot and then drag it all the way around and then release it and watch it go back, I guarantee 90% of the people who are first exposed to that will have no clue what to do. To be honest, even putting just push buttons on a phone, I would be surprised if anybody does that as well. Because the thing is, I've watched a lot of people use their cell phones before. Most people don't even type in the phone numbers anymore. They've just got it stored there, and they click dial, and they're done. And I guess that's kind of the way a phone should be. But as a software developer, somebody who actually sits there and watches how somebody experiences something, which is there's actually a field for software development called user experience. And actually watching somebody go through that stuff, it blows your mind, because you expect people to have a certain level of knowledge and experience with being able to deal with things. And if you sit there and watch people do something, you'll find that they actually don't. And it's baffling, but it actually provides a huge insight in how to design software. It's one of those things I spend actually a decent amount of time studying that stuff. And I don't even plan to go in user interface or user experience design. I just do it because, well, it's interesting, it's a good puzzle, and surprisingly, it makes a huge impact on my my projects here. If anybody's looked at the Access System GUI for 1.7, which is used for the sentry guns, it has a lot of UX design in it and UI design built into it from a lot of the classes and stuff I've learned. You can actually sit there and look at it. You can see I've clearly thought through how a user uses the interface, and have sit there and looked at it and gone, okay, how hard would it be for a user to click this? How intuitive would it be? How likely is somebody to figure it out and go through the steps without me having to teach them? And of course, I'm going to probably have to make videos regardless, because with making Minecraft mods, I know the audience range is between 6 and like 30 is the actual average audience range, which is a huge range, by the way. When I was talking to one of my professors about that, he says when you're doing normal software development, you don't get a range like that. That just doesn't exist. When you develop software, you know there's a set age range that software is going to be used by, and you know there's a set group of people that's going to be used by. With Minecraft, it's almost impossible to tell who's going to be using your software, because like my grandfather, for example, plays Minecraft occasionally on his Wii, and he's like 80, I believe, so it completely throws the age range window out of the thing. And then I know I have cousins who play it, which were like, I think they were 8 when they started playing Minecraft. I think they're like 14 now. Like my extended family's like age is going up, and I just completely stopped paying attention. I know my one cousin graduated high school here this year. Didn't even notice, although I was invited to the party. I kind of participated. My extended participation on that party, though, was me sitting in the back just drinking beer the whole time. So really crappy beer too, but it was more preferable than diet soda, because that's, my grandparents aren't exactly good at buying things. It's the only thing they can really drink is the sugar-free, almost zero caffeine diet soda, which is basically water with flavoring in it. And that stuff is, although the beer is worse, but that's because my uncle buys it. And for some reason, he has a fascination with Budweiser and a few other beer brands that are not exactly very good. Not saying Budweiser itself is bad, but because that was actually not the worst beer that was there. I'm trying to remember what beer they had there that was really, really bad. I think it was a Canadian import. I don't remember what it was. Though I'm really biased on this subject, though, because I prefer to drink heavier alcohols. Although I'm not allowed to drink said heavier alcohols, though, because, yeah, I don't know when to stop before I hit the bottom of the bottle. So let's see if we broke everything. I'm pretty much going to say almost guaranteedly something's probably going to be wrong this time. And look at that. Without a fail, I had something break. You know what? Actually, this is a false positive, because what had happened is the workspace itself was broken. So if we go to modulars and we go down to the bottom here, yeah, it failed to import this. Really easy to fix this, actually. If we go and find my user folder, Gradle, caches, Minecraft, net, Minecraft Forge. I believe this is the version one. It actually reminds me, I'm going to have to go through and update all my mods for 1.11 and 1.10 again, because I messed up on both of those. I was using the wrong version for both. At least I think I was. Maybe? I'm actually, am I in the right folder? Why is there nothing in here? Okay, something was wrong. Okay, so that's the one we just made, because, yeah, it's at the same time. But we go in here, and Oh, let me open one of these other folders up. Yeah, we're missing the snapshot folder. What gives? So we go, yeah, Forge. 111. Yeah, there's no snapshot. There's a stable. I guess it's called stable now. I'm going to go with it because I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time doing this. I clicked the wrong button again. So I want jar directory. Put this in here. Wait for it to cycle. And we want these two guys, I believe. Yeah, it looks right. Hit apply. Wait for it to rebuild down here at the bottom. And it should fix. Except they remove the container registry, which is going to break like everything. Oh man. Okay, so I believe I can change these values to just fluid registry. That actually gives me a question if Pam has actually even updated her stuff for the latest versions. What? Is there not like a... I know that one of these classes has it in here. You know, if I actually just sit here and do this real quick, I probably will find it. Oh, it's called fluid.bucketVolume now. Okay. I knew it was one of these classes. I probably could change this on the older versions too, because it's probably been transitioned for quite a while. So that fixes that, and it looks like the models are glitched again. Damn. Although not for a bad reason though. So this is where I was talking about we're going to actually have to transition some things. Speaking of which, did the bucket itself break? Yep. Crap. No matter what we do, we're going to have to use a capability system. I knew this was going to be a thing, but you always have that hope that you can make it 1 mile further without having to just completely rewrite an entire class. Oh, get subitems changed too. So what's this called? Super.get subitems. Oh yeah, that's right. The 111, they changed it to include this not null system, which I've commented before. I said is a good move. It's something they should have implemented a long time ago. Okay, so it's going to be fluid dot. Do that. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, that's changed the send message. And this is there a decreased stack size? Now this is where we're going to have to set stacks, or set count, I think is what it's called. It's going to be stack.getCount -1. Of course, this changed to fluid. And with this, you just got to really just go through one step at a time and just kind of change things one line at a time. And it's like the transition from 1.7 to 1.8 for this mod, by the way, I think I had some 5,000 errors. No, I didn't have that many. I'm overestimating on that one, to be honest. But there was a lot. And to be honest, when we go to 1.12, I think this method changes too. Oh, this is the version they added dual wielding, isn't it? Shoot. This is going to be fun. Because even though I'm looking at this method, this one's not going to be a problem. It's going to be the methods above us. Oh, that's not what I want. I want get world off this. Why did they change it to get entity world? That seems counterproductive. I can't think of a reason why you would do that. Because it doesn't really meet any standard. Yeah, so we got we got these methods which are no longer usable. So we've got to figure out how to do the capability system, which capability system uses a iFluid handler to encode things back and forth. You know, I never added capacity system to the version, so I'm going to have to backport that whenever I add it, which is going to be a pain by itself. Man, this is rough. This is where I used to complain about this all the time, but I always felt that Forge should have added backwards compatibility. So we actually, I believe, need to decrease the stack size. Yeah, so down here, the current stack. Oh wait, there's a new stack. Oh no, I do need to modify current stack. So I need to set count, current stack dot get count minus 1. So I got to modify it there. That check works. Okay, so that looks fine. Yeah, this method's changed. So if we're gonna go super.onItem right click, I believe this one changed to include. Oh no, this one changed to remove some stuff. So I got really frustrated at this one because it made no sense to remove the world here. The only thing I could think of why you would do that is just to save yourself like a couple minutes of work or something. But you still have to do this because you have to go grab the world, and you need to do the instance anyways, because almost any time you right click in the world and you do something in the world, you're gonna have to make changes. And apparently I didn't meet the requirements for that. Oh no, it's to remove the item stack. Shoot. Yeah, that's an example of me complaining about something that doesn't even matter. How do I do this? Okay, so item stack equals player dot get. Okay, I think I just do that maybe. And of course, I need to change this to item stack, not stack. Cool, so that's working. Can I not? Okay, you know, that imports. Cool. So that's good. Can fill. Take properties, fill. Oh, there's not even a can fill call anymore. Implement this interface as a capability which should handle fluids, generally storing them in one or more tanks. I'm going to get rid of this event. And the reason I'm going to get rid of that is I don't think it's necessary anymore. But this should work. The interesting thing is I actually don't even need to implement the bucket handler on here, because the only thing it will do is break how my bucket interacts with things, which actually I am okay with for at least a couple versions. I will come back through here and implement it later. I'm going to leave. Actually, I don't need this. Get rid of that. I need that. Okay, so put that back. Yeah, I'm going to have to like apply my own capability system here, like in a second. Just a wrapper this item. That should work. And then what we want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here. Do this as well. Move this up to the top here. That way I can pull the stack directly from the item. So yeah, that'll do the trick. So this what we'll do is we'll go stack.getItem.getFluid, and then we pass back in the stack. So this way our item render will work, and then let's go ahead and hit build or rebuild. And I got a poke in Discord here. Pop that over there. Yeah, it's just Dmod saying he broke the scripts. Okay. Or rather, he fixed the broken scripts that he broke yesterday. Which is good. Anyways, this looks like this will run, so we're going to hit run debug, and we're going to see what we crash. So we're still going to have to implement the capability system, but I'm going to have to go hunt somebody down for that, and it's not important. So if the capability system doesn't work on the item, what happens is you just can't interact with tanks. You can't stick the item inside of like a railcraft tank, for example, and it'll drain, which I'm okay with, because the main primary goal of getting this updated is so wooden buckets work. Wooden buckets' primary use is an early game assistance in building farms. So you pick up a wooden bucket and you can build a farm really quickly. That's literally what it's used for. It actually has no other use than that. So works for me. And I'll just go ahead and implement a capability system here later after I spend more time understanding it. What's more likely going to happen is I'm just going to go hunt down a mod like IC2, for example, and go see how they do it, because I know they have those little capsules which act as fluid containers, and if they've updated to 1.11 or 1.8 or something like that, then that means they've guaranteedly have messed with it, and then I can go. I don't think they have a GitHub, so I'm going to have to probably just ask one of the developers. And if I can't do that, I think Thermal Expansion has been updated. I think Thermcraft hasn't been updated, maybe. That's right, the author quit, so Tinkers maybe? There's a few other mods that do this. Anyway, so let's go ahead and do our right-click handler, and yeah, that works. And then if we right-click, delete, yeah, we're good. I'm amazed how easy this is updating. So the only thing we're missing is the capability system, and we're done. And these are translating right. So let's go ahead and pop wooden buckets up here. I guarantee wooden buckets won't need a single line of code changed. And as I say that, I'm probably going to regret that, because it probably does need at least one line changed. No, we're not 110. No, yeah, 110. I'm going to copy the version out of here. Yeah, that's right. We didn't update to 110 yet, so let's go ahead and we're going to paste it in here. I'll do this version later, and then we'll just go ahead and paste this in here, and we'll grab this real quick, because this will probably take me like 5 seconds. So file, project structure, plus new modular, next, add, SMB, wooden buckets. Do that. The reason why I'm doing the naming convention, by the way, is I might actually add more mods to this here later. There are 2 more mods that do depend on Fluid Handler that do need to be updated, so I'm probably going to add them to this workspace here later. And I need to fix the sources, because IntelliJ can't figure out that the sources are different. And to be honest, one thing with IntelliJ doing this, it's real easy to detect. All you have to do is go in and find a class file and then figure out what its package name is called, and if the package name doesn't match with this folder structure, then you just match until you get to there and you mark the sources. It's probably not even that hard of code to do. Although, as I say this, I don't know the inner workings of everything, and I'll probably have some dev go, oh yeah, but there's this problem and that problem that you didn't think about, and it's like, yeah, I didn't think about them, but I can go on a rant about that all day. Best to not with a little bit of energy I have. Why aren't you getting imports? Don't tell me I gotta do the whole... No, I just forgot to export that. Okay. I was gonna be pissed if I had to do like the whole export all at the dependency thing, because that is the most annoying thing you ever have to do with IntelliJ. There's no export, or there's no, yeah, there's export all button, which would be nice. Anyways, it works. So if we hit run and debug, we should see wooden buckets. We didn't check their recipes though. That's something I actually do need to check to see, make sure the recipes are still working. Although 112, we get to redo the recipes, and I don't know if the Pam's recipes are going to update. That's actually, no, I need to check that. I should be able to really easily do this. If I type in Pam, see if her mod's updated. She's just at a 111. This means 112 I won't be able to do support until she updates, which probably is going to take her a while. She has one of those pretty big mods. Because, did she have images on here? I mean, it's a good indication just to see how many crops she has. But she has a redonkulous amount of recipes that I wish her luck on updating. Especially since that is one of my more favorite mods to play with. Even though it doesn't really change the game too much, just having different crops to farm makes the game funner. Especially if you ask people like Alina, who's somebody I actually play with on Minecraft. She loves to farm in the game by hand. She refuses to use automation. And she enjoys Pam's Harvest Craft mod. Some of the changes I've actually made to wooden buckets was just because of that mod. Like, you can use the milk buckets and water buckets to actually work with recipes in Pam's Harvest Craft. And yeah, this works. So yeah, so we're good. Another update. Time to hit 112. Shoot myself in the foot repeatedly, because that's what it's literally going to feel like. Anyways, so we just want to go ahead and mark this. So what do we do here? fixed imports, temp, remove, fluid handling. Yeah, so I'm gonna just flat out say tank handling is not gonna work. It might even just crash. So I'm not gonna release any beta versions until I get a chance to test the tank handlers, and then we'll go ahead and update. And we'll actually probably test tank handling in 1.12 because I'm gonna throw this in a pretty big mod pack, and I guarantee somebody's gonna click a tank with it, which means I may just disable tank handling altogether in 1.12 just so I don't have to worry about bug reports. And we want to really quickly just pop over to the 1.11 here, go to wooden buckets, and there's not going to be any changes for this, but that means I just need to go in here, go to the build.gradle, and then I need to go and just change this to, there we go. And then we want to make a branch, 1.11. And then we're in the right folder, right? So if I hit 1.11, yeah, it's what is open. Cool. I kind of wish Get Kraken would do a little bit better file management with this. But compared to all the systems I used, it's pretty good. So let's go ahead and hit push, submit. We're done with that version. I'll have to go back and do the 1.10 version, but I'll backport later. Because the reality of it is this mod is so simple that you probably could take the 1.8 version and it'll run on 1.9.10 and it'll run on probably, yeah, 1.9.10, 11. It will not run on 12 because of how the recipe changes have been made, so, but it will run on most versions. And let's close all these guys and shut this down. And then open up the next folder here. So we'll pop back up here. We need to grab this guy and then pop into 1.12 and then paste. So yeah, the number one problem we're going to probably have with updating to 1.12 is the recipes. That's the only thing I can really see that's going to go wrong right now. And you'll see if we can even make it through 1.12 completed because my stomach is growling at me because I haven't eaten anything all day. Another important tip if you're going to be a software developer, eat food. Sleep, eat food, take a break. Don't do what I do. I mean, there's a saying, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm retarded when it comes to some of this stuff, and I'm one of those people that has gone 12 days without sleep, very little eating, and I have actually physically suffered because of that, because I had a micro heart attack after that 12 days. So don't do that. Never do that, ever. Okay, so we get this updated, so now we want to go Gradle properties, and I think I just have to set this, oh, not Gradle properties, man, what? I always forget that, but to be honest, we really should be setting it in the property file rather than doing it in here, but I'll have to wait for dmod to do that. So 1.12, actually, where's the scripts? Scripts. I can actually close that. So scripts, jump over here. He actually was working on these, so I can just click that, hit branch, and it is called 1.12. So there isn't any subversions of 1.12 out yet, so that's cool. I was making sure that there wasn't the case. And that's good, so it's updated, so we just have to pop over, run the dev.bat. Actually, before we do that, I want to go ahead and synchronize, because as soon as I hit the build on that, I can't use Get Kraken until it's done loading. Get Kraken will actually crash. It has crashed repeatedly on me because it can't access files at the same time something else is. And we actually want to branch before we commit. So 1.12 set MC version to 1.12, push, submit. So there we go. We're now sitting on 1.12. As soon as this finishes running, we'll be able to fix the version, and I'll meet my deadline by 3 o'clock, because that's when that's a couple hours before they plan to launch this mod pack, and I will be pushing it to get a mod in by then. Whew. Also, Travis is freaking out. Yeah, we're actually phasing out Travis on all of our stuff. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. Dmod picked it up originally. I really wasn't for it, but I wasn't against it at the same time, so I kind of let him use it. But we have our own build servers, so we've been phasing it out because the build server will tell us the same thing Travis will tell us. So Travis will fail, and then like 2 minutes later, then the build server will fail, and they'll both give us the same crash reports. I'm like, Dmod, why are we doing this twice? Let's not be using up resources on Travis, because Travis is a free system. So you're actually, if you're using the build server on Travis, somebody else can't use it either. So we just might as well use our build servers, because then we're not wasting other people's time. Plus, eventually, we can put plugins on our own build server that then will email us and go, hey, build broke. Which actually is going to be really important, but most of the time I know when builds are going to fail. Like, I know half these builds are going to fail until Dmod goes through and fixes the scripts and gets them all updated and cleaned up. Which he'll get to eventually. I mean, that guy is working his ass off just trying to pay for rent. So I don't really push him hard. So whenever he gets around to fixing scripts is whenever he gets around to fixing scripts. And if I badly need a build done, I usually just do it by hand. So I actually can sit here and I can click build.local here to get builds locally if the build server isn't working. And then if that doesn't work, I actually understand Gradle enough that I can fix my own scripts. But it's when we start to get in a little bit more of the complex side that I struggle to fix the scripts. So there's a lot of subtasks that do exist, that do break. There's things like cleaning up the build folders, running change logs. There's quite a few other things that do run. Injecting version numbers, building the API files and DAW files are some other things that like to fail. They don't fail often, but if they fail, I can't fix them. A good example of this is Voltz Engine is built with a really special build process, and if it fails, the likelihood of me fixing that script is non-existent. And the reason for it, by the way, the special build system is we actually broke, or rather I broke apart Voltz Engine into sub-projects. That way I can track it better. And in the process of doing that, I unfortunately made the build process like 20 times harder. And it's only going to get worse here later, because we actually have code that can write itself now, which as we start to use it more and more, it's basically, by the way, Lombok is the same thing what we're doing here. We're writing code that writes itself. I actually need to get around to understanding Lombok, because the thing is you can put a processor in here. So there's that potential that I could start using Lombok in place of my code generator, which would be amazing because, well, my code generator barely works. Not saying I coded it like crap, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it. Okay, so we got no import errors, and we only have minor problems like the registries, and we already anticipated this. So at subscribe or notes, yes, it should be subscribe event. Here we go, and this should be. You know, I'm gonna have to copy this from another mod because I just don't remember it off the top of my head. Source, main, resources, assets, wooden shears. No, I don't want assets, I want main. Java, com, build broken, wooden shears, wooden shears. Yeah, see, when you do the newer stuff, for starters, you have to put this on your thing now. This is actually optional, but it does help. It does a huge difference when it comes to how this works. So what this annotation does is when Forge goes through and does its process, it will go ahead and register the class, not the instance, the class as a listener. And then all you have to do is you come down here and you have to make these static. And then it will fire those events via the static method calls. So that way you get the stuff running more smoothly is a good way to put it. Anyways, we do this. There's a few other things we got to fix too. So we got that. This will be our block. And then we gotta, I'm gonna pass the event in. So that's registration event.block. Oh, stupid Java. Or stupid IntelliJ. I click import class and I clicked the wrong one. Anyway, so we want to pass the event into this method here. That way we can get the calls to run correctly. And how this works is I think it's event.getRegistry.register, and you pass in block. The problem is that the item blocks are different. So I'm going to actually have to loop through, because I have to have the item blocks, because if I don't have them, I can't register the models properly, and it won't work. So I have to actually have that. So actually, hold on, I shouldn't have deleted that. I need this part. Then I can delete that. So how I'm going to do this is in this event right here, is I'm going to go, okay, for block dot fluid helper dot generated blocks, and I should be able to just do this, where I can just go event dot get registry dot register. There we go, and that should do the trick. And of course, I'm going to copy this up to here, and everything should be smooth. So we got our registry events down. We are going to need a model registration event still. And I need to get rid of these guys. This is, by the way, the reason I did these events, is that technically I need, I need the fluids to register before the blocks register. How to do this? I guess I'm just going to fire these from the block method, because that'll work. That'll get them in the right order of operation, but it's not perfect. But that's the only thing I can think of how to make that work. Hopefully there's another event that fires between this ones, because how this works is it fires the blocks, then the items, then I believe it goes pre-init, then I believe it goes models, is how the order works. By the way, we're going to have problems with recipes down here. I don't know how to make this work. I really don't. With Pam's stuff not updated, what I'm just going to go ahead and do is pull a classic dev thing here and just comment out the whole thing. You will see this done so many times in programming that it's done, is what I put it. Yeah, both these recipes are broken. Shoot. That. That way I don't have to delete the code, I can just do this. Yeah, you'll see this, you'll see that happen all the time. The only problem is, oh yeah, I already commented out. So yeah, that's good. So I won't have to worry about that. So let's hit build, rebuild, and see where else we have errors. I'll just have to wait for Pam to update. And when Pam updates her mod, I'll go ahead and re-add the recipes back. Oh, shoot. Please tell me you're just an import change. iModel custom data. No. My perspective of where models gone to. Shoot, we gotta rewrite our models. Crap, I was hoping to avoid this. Good news is, because I'm pretty much cloning the Forge bucket, I can just continue to clone the Forge bucket. Huh. So it looks like... Oh, you know what? Actually, if I remember correctly, these aren't gone. They're default interfaces now. What are you missing? Implement methods. You're missing bake. Okay, so this changed slightly. Java util function. What? Usage of API since one. Oh, You know what's really dumb? My project structure is stuck on 1.6. What's even dumber than this, it may not compile. And this is going to be a problem. But that's a Lambda function system, I believe. Why do you work one way but not the other? Okay, so the perspective model disappeared. What do they use now? iBaked model, just flat out. Okay, probably because iBaked model actually contains the code automatically. What we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this bottom code. I don't recommend people copy, by the way, but I don't have a lot of time to do anything else, so I'm just going to do it this way. After all, I am pretty much more or less using the forge system, so I might as well continue doing what I'm doing. Because the only reason I've really copied their code is that I liked what they do, so this system is good, but when you get down to these overrides right here, I need a different override system. So I have to kind of do things differently. Theoretically, what I could do is I could extend their version and then use mine, and then that way I'm not really taking their code. But then there's other things down here, like they process things like this, and I don't really need that information because I don't... If it's a gas, I always want it to flip the bucket. Anyway, so we got a few other problems in here. So this whole bake system is weird. I think this is just iBaked model now. No. Okay, so where's... Did I close the forge bucket class? Yes, I did. Okay, so click here again. No, it's still open. It's just my brain doesn't want to click. Okay, it's called Perspective Wrapper now. So Perspective Wrapper .get transforms. Yes. Okay, cool. So get transforms. And then we need to repair this code down here. So it looks like it's a slight change. Yeah, it's not a really major change, like one line pretty much. And then the constructor changed. Baked model. What are you missing? You require model fluid bucket, but then you're getting model dyna bucket. Huh? I messed something up here. Okay, so you're running constructor baked dynamic bucket, which is down here, baked dynamic bucket. I'm just going to rename this so I don't have import problems. I think it's what's happening is I'm just having an import issue. Yes, here's a problem actually. Model fluid bucket. So yeah, it's just an example of where, because I copied code, a lot of the stuff didn't transition. Once again, I don't recommend ever copying, but I'm just doing this to get by. Okay, so that looks like that fixes it. Now, for those who probably are going to accuse me of, I actually do understand how some of this code works, so it's not like I'm copying it solely with the idea that I don't know what it's doing. I know, for example, these are doing transformations. Then we're setting up texture maps here. And then we're applying textures pretty much to the map. We're building it, then we bake it, we make a model. The model then does pretty much everything else. Anyways, debug, Minecraft client. There we go. And we'll see if this works. I'll be happy if I don't really have to do anything else and I'm done. And this is the problem where I was talking about where it may just flat out not compile. For some reason, a lot of my IntelliJ workspaces do not want to change from 1.6 to 1.8. They just don't care. They like to stick on 6. And I haven't figured out how to fix it. I'm a little... One problem about drinking Coca-Cola here is it makes you belch a lot. It also gives you antacid. So how to fix this? So I want to say it is a settings problem. Because we are using Java 8. Even though I do have all the other SDKs installed, it should be using this version. Actually, hold on. Maybe I have to edit my run configs. Edit configuration. Can you change the Java version in here? I don't think you can. It is using Gradle start. That may be part of my problem. Okay, hold on. We're just going to do this real quick. And we're going to pull the Google. So IDE IntelliJ JavaXC task source release. Okay. File settings. So what does that say? It says you need to go down to the compiler. Java compiler is stuck on. That is stupid as all kinds of levels. So at least I've got that figured out. So that's the reason why if you ever have a problem, Google it first. That's a good way to do it. And usually most of the time somebody else has had the problem. Even when it comes to Minecraft mods, most of the time I've actually solved issues. And why? What gives? Okay, super.get subitems. Oh, okay. That makes less sense than anything else. Actually, there's also another thing with this, if I remember correctly. You need to check to make sure the creative tab is the correct tab. Because I remember, I think it was Vasky was complaining on Twitter that this will call all creative tabs, so you actually want to go if tab equals get creative tab. I actually don't think that's actually required anymore. I think that whatever he was experiencing was just a bug, but it's a good idea to go ahead and just add extra precautions like that until you've actually done the science to confirm that it isn't a thing. Actually, I could probably just do the science here in a bit. Just do a print line. If you put a print line here, we'll know what creative tab is being called. That's if our stuff loads. Nope, doesn't load. Okay. Oh yeah, because we didn't do our model definitions. Okay, so there's another thing I completely neglected to do, is that we're doing all the model loading here. What we actually need to do, and I actually hit close others and then reopen it again. So we need to pop over here, and the same thing we did here with the items and blocks, we need to do with our models. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And you do your mod ID, and then I want to do my side equals side.client. Side proxy maybe? Hold on. Value side client. So apparently it's value equals side client. That's weird. There we go. Does it actually matter what mod ID? So it's, you know what's really cool about this? I didn't think about this. This can be used for proxies. So Voltz Engine has got a ton of proxies built into it to compatibility with a ton of mods. I could use this to load them. I didn't think about that. That's actually really cool. Anyway, so that's, yeah, we get that. So then we want to come down here. We could just get rid of this method pretty much. But we want to, instead of get rid of it, we want to rename it. Subscribe event. Load models. And then, do I still have this open? Yep, here we go. And there we go, model registration of it. Register fluid model. And I just need to make this static. There we go. And this should work, it should fix our problem. There's a few other things I can do, by the way. I can replace this with a lambda. Replace this with a lambda. I love lambdas. They're awesome. I don't like the way they make the code look sometimes. Like there's examples of where a lambda is acceptable. There's examples where they're not. For example, this is fine. This not too hard to read, but I've seen some people use lambdas in the most retarded way ever, where they'll like take a list to put it to a stream, and they'll filter it like 15 times, and they'll do that. I'm like, if you're filtering that many times, please, for the love of God, just use a normal for loop. You probably could accomplish the same amount of work in the same amount of time, but instead you're for looping literally 50 times. Because even though a lambda looks really fancy, and you think it's saving you a ton of work, the reality of it is it's doing the same amount of work. So for example, this guy right here, so this is something I actually could do. I'll show you how to do this. I can grab this and I can go for each. I believe I want to do client proxy, double this, register fluids. So that's something you could do with lambdas, and it saves you a lot of time. But what I see some people do with this is they'll call stream filter, 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 and they'll repeatedly call that so many times just to get rid of extra objects. And it does make your life a little easier, but it doesn't make the code run better. Because this just replaces a for loop, that's all it does. So it just calls for each, and then it passes the value of each one of these objects into this. And it does this thing, which by the way, I need to do fluid block null check on this. I didn't do this in the older versions, and it probably could potentially, maybe be a problem. Anyways, we got our sub items called here. So what is our creative tab called? Do you have a name? Item search typing. So yeah, so it looks like creative tab is called for several different tabs. So it is a good thing we actually went through there and put that check on there. So we do know the science. It is a problem. I don't know why that would be an issue though, because there should be a method called get creative tab, which then you should use to check to see if that's a valid tab. Anyways, we can tell right off the back that our bucket is working because it's in my hand. And yeah, look at that. Our add information is missing. That's not cool. And I think I've heard a couple people say that that is a problem. Unless I accidentally removed the last version. So bucket, item fluid. Oh yeah, we're already in here. Scroll up. This information's all at the top. Man, this is a huge classifier. We're at almost 700 lines. So here's add information, and there's no add override over it. So that explains a lot. So this is important of add overrides. Yeah, it's just a simple mistake of where this method changed, and I need to just do this real quick. Okay, this is your list. Oh, there's no player. You know why there's no player on here? This just dawned on me, and I didn't realize this when I was working on another mod. Add information is client side only. You're only going to ever have one player client side. This is why I didn't realize this. So Minecraft, come on Minecraft, there we go. So Minecraft, get Minecraft, the player, cave bugs. There we go. So that's why I was looking at this and there wasn't a player passed in, and I was like, oh, that's going to be horrible because I have items that do depend on the player, and I couldn't think of a way to fix it. And then I completely forgot this is a client-side system where you can just get the player whenever you want the player. So that'll fix itself, and what we want to do is just go ahead and close this and reload. And our tooltip should be functional. And then all we have to do is then load wooden buckets up and then fix its recipes, and we're good to go. Though I am going to take a pause before I do wooden buckets because we're already at 1 hour and 20, and I can smell my food catching on fire out in the kitchen. And not really catching on fire, but it's probably burning. Yeah, I'm probably the only person my family knows who has literally caught a pot on fire before. I took the championship title from my aunt, who managed to make a cake out of salt instead of sugar. I now have the title of burned a pot. I don't even know how the thing burned. It didn't have any fuel. I just put water in there. You would think it maybe the chlorine would have burned, but there's so little chlorine content in water that if it did burn, it would burn for like milliseconds. But it burnt for like 20 minutes. And nobody could explain why. There we go. Our tooltips are working. Awesome. So I'll go take a break on this, and I'll be back here in a little bit with another video to do the recipes real quick. And then we'll be back here later today with hopefully some gameplay from that mod pack on their server, and then we can see all the cool mods that are updated to 1.12, and I can probably get trolled by my fellow developers for only having 4 mods updated to 1.12, and they're all SMB mods. I think when I originally got invited, they were hoping I'd update ICBM, but that isn't happening for another 2 months pretty much at this rate. But I'll see you guys another day, or another time actually, but you get the point.